Yes, I am 40, actually 43, and people don't believe me, but it's true. I'm 43, so I have three great things about being in your 40s because how many of you are watching this video because you're about to turn 40 and you're freaking out and you're like, oh my goodness, 40 is old and please somebody tell me something good about being 40. In fact, there is a really popular YouTube short where a woman, the title says, please tell me something good about turning 40. And in doing research for this video, almost every video that I saw about being 40 was like very negative, like being 40 and alone, being 40 and trying to find the goodness in my life, like midlife crisis and all these things. So I was like, you know what? My 40s have been pretty amazing as far as like personal growth and where I'm at in my life. So I wrote a list because, I'm in my 40s. I don't want to forget what I'm trying to say. So I have three things for you today. There are way more than three, but today I'm going to say three things that are great about being in your 40s. I say I can't say that this is going to happen for you in your 40s, but for me, these are three great things that I have found about being in my 40s. Number one, no longer caring about what's in style. I mean, like, I wear giant sweaters. Like, this is huge. You can't see the whole thing, but it's like three sizes too big. My hair is in a puff, and I'm not wearing as much makeup as I normally would. And I have gone to the grocery store like this before. I'm making a public YouTube video. I wear super baggy jeans, sometimes skinny jeans. It depends on the outfit. So I still sometimes care about what I wear, but it's not like when I was in my 20s and maybe a little bit in my 30s where I just thought like, I have to figure out what's cute. I don't want people looking at me funny, like, oh, why is she wearing that? Now I wear things that are comfortable. And a lot of my stuff that I love Pinterest. And I have a whole Pinterest board on clothing that I, dream of having in my closet. Most of it is like baggy pants and baggy sweaters and boots. Okay, there might be other things like pretty flowery things, but I'm talking about like, I'm just not so stressed anymore about like, oh, is this cute? Oh no, what are people going to think about this outfit? Is it comfy, cozy, fuzzy, easy to do? Like, throw your hair in a puff? I just don't care so much about being stylish. And if my mother is watching, you may find this very entertaining due to the fact of how many times I'd be like, oh, you should actually wear this, and oh, you should get rid of this. I'm like, I get it now. I get it. I finally get it. I started to get it a little bit in my 30s, but like being 43 now, I just totally am like, I really get that feeling of like, I don't care if it's stylish or not. I just want to wear this giant sweater and baggy pants. I get it. So I don't know if it will happen for you, but for me, that's something that has been great about my 40s. No longer caring about what's in style. Number two, great thing about being in my 40s is being able to see other people's perspectives without doubting my own. So, what I mean is, when I was in college, I took a class where it described different stages of development, like mental development and emotional, social development. It described like very black and white thinking early on, like concrete versus abstract, different ways that your brain learns to think and things that are very normal for different age levels. One of the later mindsets that it described people developing into was the ability to understand why someone would think something that they do, but not necessarily having to believe it themselves. At the time that was described, I was like, I don't get it, because if you can see why someone believes what they do or thinks what they do, doesn't that mean you should believe that doesn't that mean you're convinced like, oh, I see why you believe what you do, therefore I need to believe that? I didn't get that whole mindset of, I didn't understand it. And basically, the book that we were learning from said, if this doesn't make sense to you, don't worry. That just means that proves the point that it's not a concept that you can actually get until a certain stage of, I don't know if it's brain development, social development, I don't know. All that to say, I think it started in my 30s and now definitely in my 40s. I finally get it. Like, I can fully research a viewpoint or put myself in someone else's shoes and say, even if I don't agree, I see your logic. I see why to you this makes sense or why you're doing this in your behavior. I don't have to love it. I don't have to think it's a great conclusion. I don't even have to agree with it. I can still believe what I believe while understanding, oh, I get why someone else would think this way. It could be politics, theology, or whatever. Um, of course, there's still right and wrong, things that are moral and not moral, but it's not about that. It's more of just like a perspective of being able to say, I see why you think that way, but I still think what I think, despite you having your conclusions. If that doesn't make sense, that's okay. Um, it's just something that happened to me in my 30s and 40s, much more so even now in my 40s. So, the third great thing about being in my 40s is getting perspective on what's really important in life. Um, I used to be so concerned with how I looked, how I come across, what are all my friends around my age doing? I'm behind. At the time it was like, I'm not married, I don't have kids, I don't have, my dream home. It's like dream job, career, just all these other things. If you want to get a little bit more into like my career journey, you can head to my channel and go to a previous, I think it was the video right before this one, where I talk about my career journey and very unconventional career path. So anyways, I just would get very preoccupied and emotionally distressed over these supposed, like, I guess culturally imposed maybe, timelines of like what's important: career, family, um, home, just things that you think life is supposed to be all about or that you're supposed to have done by a certain time. And I don't know what it is about being in my 40s, but I've been able to get like a really healthy perspective on what's actually important in life, which is how we treat other people. And don't worry if you're like if you're like me and you're a Christian and you're thinking, wait a minute, life is about, all these like theological things. Like, even just think about what Jesus said was the greatest commandment is loving God and loving your neighbor as you love yourself. And later in the New Testament, the verse about, these three remain faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. The greatest of these is love. So I've been able to come to a place where life has just gotten much more simple as far as what is important and what matters. It's even in those little daily interactions with, your cashier at the grocery store, or that person you disagree with on Facebook or on YouTube. Um, it's so much more about how you treat people and treating others as you would have them treat you. So I want to make sure I got everything in my notes here. There's so much more I could say about each one of these things, and there's so many other great things about being in my 40s. And I wanted to put something positive out there, because if you're, like I said, everything I researched, most things about being in your 40s, I looked on YouTube, I looked on Google. On YouTube, like I said, it was all this stuff about like, oh, being in your 40s and a midlife crisis. And if that's what you're experiencing, I don't want to minimize that. I just want to put something out there that says like, life is not over in your 40s, like socially or impact wise. So like I want whoever you are out there who needs this, who's maybe turning 40 and are feeling down about your life, I hope you find this encouraging, and I hope you can pass it along to someone else who may need it. Um, I'm just noticing like the background. I'm not like in some weird cabin bunker. This is just like the hallway that goes from the house to the garage. So it's like actually quite historic back here. This is probably like original wood from, I don't know, the 1920s or something. Anyways, I'm not hiding out in a bunker. um, that's my short version of 3 great things about being in my 40s. And if I missed something great or something that you really love about being in your 40s, please put it in the comments, because someone may come across something good that you want to share, or something that's helpful, something encouraging, and it really might help them. So please put something helpful in the comments if you can think of anything I missed or something that you would like to share that's great about being in your 40s. So um that's it for for now, and I'm going to hit the stop button and be very informal. Bye.